This is an interview of a candidate for Bandon School Board conducted by the League of Women Voters of Coos County. All candidates were invited to participate. We are going to interview now Corrie Gant. Corrie Gant is running for Bandon School Board Position 1. She is a retired registered nurse and part-time librarian assistant who has previously served on the Bandon School Board for 8 years, 2 as chair. She is a longtime local, having graduated from North Bend High School and Southwestern Oregon Community College. Her opponent for Position 1, David Heisel, declined to sit for an interview with the League of Women Voters of Coos County. But both candidates have posted information about their campaigns on vote411.org. So now for the questions. Number 1, why are you running for school board?
Generally, when I feel very concerned about a situation or a condition, I relieve my anxiety by jumping in and trying to make a difference. When I was a nurse, I was worried about friends and family members that were suffering from cancer, and I wanted to be able to do something for them, so I became a chemo nurse. I'm concerned about things that are happening at the federal level, and the way I control my anxiety is to jump into the school board again, because I think all politics are local, and you can't get more local than a school board.
What relevant skills and experience would you bring to the school board?
Well, in addition to having been on the school board for 8 years, I think my entire background helps me work with others. In addition to being a nurse, where I'm working with staff and patients and physicians and trying to make us all coordinate together as a team, I've also been very active in theater, and a lot of my education was in theater. To put on a play, all we see is what is on the stage, but there are dozens of people working backstage that have to be coordinated to all tell the same story at once. And I think that has served me very well in any group situation that I've had to work in.
If elected, how much time would you invest in visiting the schools?
I would love to see all of the schools. I don't want to micromanage, but I want to be very aware of what is going on in the schools. For example, this afternoon, I just found the Tiger Beat newsletter and found there are just wonderful things happening. And I would have loved to have known about that before, but I'm looking forward to learning about more about those and more of the things that are going on.
In your role as a liaison between the community and the superintendent, how will you solicit and weigh input from teachers, parents, non-teaching staff, and students?
I'm always happy to ask people what they're thinking or what questions they might have about any particular thing going on in our school district. I believe I'm as available as I can be to anybody that has a question or a concern. If I think it's relevant or if I think it's accurate, I will always go to the person it concerns, but I would first weigh it to make sure that it's true.
What are the most pressing challenges facing the district, and how would you address them?
Well, I think funding our schools has always been a major issue. I mean, it was an issue 25 years ago, the last time I was on the board, and every month when we met and we learned more students had left, there was always this concern about how will we keep going. And I think now there's 200 students fewer this year than there were 25 years ago. So funding is a huge issue. At the end of 2023, a group called the Oregon School Board Rural Caucus, Oregon School Board Member Rural Caucus was formed, and I want Bandon to be represented on that board, working with all the other rural schools to make sure that any new legislation that the state passes does not affect us negatively. And to work together to find solutions to, how do we provide more opportunities for our students to experience diverse situations, and new types of work maybe that they would be interested in. How do we coordinate sports so that students aren't traveling for 2 days to get to the team they're going to play? I think we have a lot of unique issues that we can work together to solve.
How would you prioritize limited funding in the current uncertain environment?
One of my primary concerns is our food program. We have about 50% of our students qualify for the free and reduced lunch programs, and we also serve lunch throughout the summer to anybody under the age of 18, and I want to make sure that that continues. So that's my primary issue. I don't want to see any reduction in staff because they all are working so hard as it is. Let's keep the numbers that we have. Again, because we don't know what's going to happen at the federal level. We don't know if the USDA is going to be able to continue funding our lunch programs. We don't know if there's going to be any change in the federal money that comes to our state and then to Bandon. So it's hard to tell which way we're going to have to go, and nobody knows. That's a problem.
What steps do you think need to be taken to foster a safe environment conducive to learning in the schools?
From what I've seen so far, I think it appears to me that our schools are doing a good job of creating that safe space. Nobody can just walk into the schools anymore. You have to hit a buzzer to get allowed in. I was relieved to see that happening, but also really sad that we have to do that. We've had presentations at the school board meetings that I've attended for a program where, now I can't remember what they're called, but rooms where kids can go when they're feeling like they can't quite deal with themselves that day, or they just need a little extra help to regulate their emotions, and they can go to this room and have additional support from people that are trained to offer that support and communicate with the teachers so that the student can go back to the class and be able to learn. I thought those programs were amazing. They were in all three of the schools, I think, at least the middle school and the grade school. And I was very impressed with that project, and I hope it continues.
Bandon schools show only 45% of students meeting grade expectations in math. What should be done to improve this number?
I don't know. I was very surprised to see that number. I know that I was never a big fan of math until I was like 45, and now I really enjoy it. Our granddaughter who lives here in our house came home with some of her math homework, and I was thrilled that I understood how she was being taught to do these math problems. I know when my kids were in school, the system that they were supposed to use was very confusing to me, so I couldn't really help with their homework, but I understood hers. So I'm hoping that whatever program they're using right now for math is a program that goes through all three schools, because it was very learnable, I think would be the way to put it. So I'm hoping that this program will help increase that score.
What rights do parents have under Oregon law to direct their children's education? And what role should parents play in shaping school policy?
I do not know specifically what rights parents have to control their students' education. Is that basically the statement? But as far as participating in how their students are taught and defining curriculum. I think to me, I think the approach would be to attend school board meetings, to bring any concerns that you have so that the board can address them. I know that there is a lot of school board training when you first go on the board, and I'm looking forward to that because I don't know what changes have been happening over the last 25 years. But I'm pretty sure that the first step is you address it with the teacher, the principal, the superintendent, the school board. The school board should probably come in a little earlier there, but that would be the appropriate route.
Okay. Recently, the federal government sent a Dear Colleague letter warning that it would pull funding from schools that have diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. How do you see this affecting the district? And what, if anything, would you change in school district policy in response?
As of today, anyway, I believe those letters have mostly gone out to higher education. I know they've also gone to some states. I believe the state of Oregon does not agree with that particular executive order. Our laws do not allow us to just say, oh, okay, we won't do it anymore. I'm afraid I don't really understand why the federal government would be against this, because to me, diversity, equity, and inclusivity aren't terrible things. That just basically means we all play fair. We're all nice to each other. We all help each other. And I think that's a good thing.
Okay. What, if anything, should the school board or the city be doing to make it easier for teachers to live in Bandon?
Oh, man. I have a soapbox somewhere for that one. Housing is a huge issue in Bandon. Their affordable housing is considered to be like $1,500 a month, which I think is nuts. It would be great to have some affordable housing, but even then, what I've been hearing, this is affordable housing is not affordable. And this is not just a Bandon issue, it's a nationwide issue. And I think it would have to start, I mean, it could start here locally, but I couldn't tell you how. I mean, especially now, it's going to cost so much just to build those housing units that nobody could afford to make it actually affordable rent. So I think this is a huge problem, and I don't know that the school board is going to be able to fix that.
Okay, well, thank you. Would you like to make a closing statement?
Do I dare?
Oh,
I want to thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak and do my best to answer your questions. I My goals are to make sure that we keep our students fed and to support our teachers and staff in their teaching. I just admire the work that they do. And this community is really working hard to give them as much as we can to do their job. And it's hard in these times, but we're doing our best to make sure that the students can learn and the teachers can teach. And that's what I want to see happening at Bandon schools.
for joining us today. The League of Women Voters encourages all voters to check vote411.org to find more information about what's on their ballot. Again, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Bye.